I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna work. Whoop. Lots of individual wins. That's what keeps you going. And today, I got a couple of them. And then there's something you've probably never seen before. Well, redoing the top half of our four-link here was a huge success. I am so much happier with that. The geometry is right on. Pinion angle changes like none. The little bit of flex that I had in the frame before is gone. Doing the cross member here and then tying it in with the upper part of the frame here where the bags are, that got rid of the flex because instead of it supporting the truck just back here, it's supporting it here. So it doesn't have that little bit of flex right here that it did, because now it's supported down here. Yeah, super happy. So today, I'm hoping to have just as much success. But first, it's real hard to repeat success when you're tripping over the remnants of the last one. I've got some good ideas that have been running through my head, and I got a couple projects I want to get done today. I know it looks like I have a big project, but you know what? That's where most people fail to finish, or even fail to even start in the first place. If you think about it as one project, it's really easy to get overwhelmed and burned out and just give up because you lose interest. Because it's a lot of work. It's a big project. What you got to do is think of it as a series of lots of little projects, just one after the other. Daisy Duke, what do you think? Gonna work? You think? I think it might. So here's my idea. Originally I was thinking we were gonna put these on the side of the frame, on the outside of it, like so. But I think I might take this flat strap, it's 4-inch wide strap, put it here between the frame rails, mount this guy like that, swing that around right into there on both sides, and then this, which I'll explain later, can go in between the two like that, something like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Maybe. We'll have to take some measurements with the roll pan and the rear bed mounts here, but I think that this should probably work. So I slept on this for like a week, but I'm happy with it. I think it's gonna work. Whoop. Pick it up, pick it up. Any ska fans out there? I think this tank though, I think I want to turn it around so these leader hoses from the air compressor, they can go like that. actually gonna cut this about 4 inches longer than I need it because I want to break the ends up. So it'll bend up here, we could weld it around like that. I think I like that idea. And you know what? If it turns out that we feel like it's unnecessary, we cut them off. Cut it out. But how we're gonna do this, because my metal brake isn't gonna do a clean bend on this, it's too thick. I'm gonna score it so that way it'll bend easy and we'll weld it back up, I guess. I don't know, just hang in with me. Do you want a cutoff wheel in your face? Because that's how you get a cutoff wheel in your face. Don't break, 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 don't break. How's it look from that side? Not as good as this side. That's better. Yeah, something like that. And take that back out, weld up those corners that we just bent. Clean up all that rust, some other stuff. I had some weld through primer, but it's all dried up. This green self-etching primer from Duplicolor though, I've actually had good luck with this, using it as a makeshift weld through primer. So that's what I'm gonna do. It was really just the ends I wanted to get. Whatever, do the whole thing. Getting a little smoky in here. Whew. I have to open the windows. I think I need to get an exhaust fan in here. Well, we got this welded on. I got this dropped down in what I think is the perfect position, and it's also tied into the tank mount. I thought that would be a good idea, especially since there's going to be a couple of compressors vibrating away on this thing. So I kind of want to keep that as sturdy as possible. But I'm going to go ahead and shoot some of this self-etching primer on it. I don't know how long it's going to be until we actually get some paint on here. So that'll be good for now. Like, I haven't been leaving anything bare over here. But the rear end's got to come out so I can finish welding those tabs on and all that junk. Should get some primer on that though. Okay, I got this all measured up the way that I think it's gonna work great. And this is a long nose marker. This, we can get it down in there and mark where those holes are in the air compressor. Pretty handy, eh? I think for good measure, we're going to use the chipinger also. Chipinger. Automatic center punch. Perfect. That worked great. Forgot to mark where this box is going. It is going right in the middle. So we'll find the center of this, which is about there. Center of the frame rails. That guy needs to live right there. But we're gonna push him out a little bit. Just like that. And I'm just gonna trace around it. Bam! Now I know from the past that I need to drill a 7/32 hole for the bolts to hold the compressors. If it's through that bushing, perfect. And that Matco hyper step bit, that'll make quick work of it. Told you it'd be quick, but you know what? As I was doing that, I was kind of thinking, I might know that that hole is 7/32, but I also know that there's no way that I got all 8 of them holes so perfect that this would just go right on a perfectly sized hole. Plus there's primer, paint, so you know what? We're gonna step that up a little bit. We're gonna step it up to 1/4. Where'd I put that chipinger? Found it. Hey, that clock. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers. Comment #GarageTime on any video on this channel for a chance to win that. This one. So I'm going to take this box, I'm going to set it right back down where we liked it, which is right there. We're going to take our finger, ping the bottom of it. Ping, ping, ping. I went ahead and painted it with a rattle can just because I wanted to see what it looks like when I put it all together temporarily. But that really didn't do anything for me other than probably going to cause problems when I go to actually paint this. But whatever, I did what I did. It's also going to take a minute to dry before I can set those things on it. At first I wanted to mount the tank like this with these ports facing back towards the air compressors because I wanted to loop the leader hose from the air compressor into the tank like this. So that way they're blowing straight into the tank with no additional resistance. But with the way that the compressors were going to get mounted, they were going to be in the way of that port. So that wasn't going to work. So I thought we'd flip these around, flip the tank around, and run them in like this. What I don't necessarily like about that is that I would have to have an elbow on it. No big deal, right? Well, right. But also a lot of not a big deals all put together can create a big deal. I prefer this to flow directly into the tank without having to blow against that elbow and try to turn that corner into the tank. How many of you guys know about Ohm's law? Ohm's law is voltage equals current times resistance. What does that have to do with an air compressor? Well, here, check this out. This is probably the best representation of Ohm's law that I've seen. And yes, it's about electricity, but Ohm's law, depending on how you think about it, is really kind of a rule of life. Like, this is me right here trying to get to work in the morning. And this guy here, he's that slowpoke in front of me who's holding up traffic. And that guy right there, that's that jerk behind me that's trying to push me through traffic, even though I can't go any faster because this guy's in my way. Resistance is what I'm saying. There's resistance everywhere in life, and it makes you work harder. Dropping my nuts. Same goes for these air compressors. If that air compressor is blowing into that corner and having to work its way around it, it has to work harder. That elbow is creating resistance. Another thing that'll cause this compressor to work harder than it needs to, same idea, this intake, Viair gives you a filter to put on there, and I've seen that filter put right on the air compressor, and this thing is put on a frame rail, and that filter gets full of dirt and dust and grime and crap. This thing needs to breathe, it needs to suck before it can blow. And if it's struggling to suck, it's going to struggle to blow. Again, causing it to work harder and drawing more amps and yada yada yada. I like to run an air line from the intake on the compressor up to somewhere dry and clean, like behind a taillight or shoot even inside the cab. Keep them clean, keep them dry, and replace them when they need to be replaced. And since we are in the designing and fabrication stage here, we were able to keep all that in mind. so we can build it accordingly. Like how I was able to flip this tank back around and do this the way I want to. After some measurements behind the roll pan here, I figured if I dropped that whole mount down, I was able to get that compressor out of the way of the port, and it worked out perfect. All right, we are kicking some butt on this 78 Chevy Love. Maybe not kicking butt, but we're moving forward.
Onward.
I was born in 1978. Yeah, I was a youngster growing up in the 80s. Now, I remember going to the school library, flipping through the Guinness Book of World Records. We had the cigarette guy. We had the fingernail guy. We even had those moped twins. But now, in 2026, you might find my son Cody and his Milwaukee Tools collection. Better than a drug addiction, I guess. Looking for some stainless hardware. This is all stainless in here, but I don't think I have any of the right size. It's all going to be a hair too big or a hair too small. I'll have to run to the hardware store, get some stainless. I want to use hex head, even though I like the way that like an Allen would look, but number one, it's under the bed and you ain't gonna see it. But number two, it's less likely that a hex head is gonna strip out or something if I ever needed to get in there and, you know. But yeah, hex head and nylock nuts. So these we'll just let sit loose for now. I mean, we don't have fittings or anything anyway. We actually have a little while before we're plumbing any of that up. So what is this box for anyway? Well, inside this box, weather sealed box, we'll be putting fuses in it, relays, that kind of thing. I have a thick piece of like ABS plastic I'll be making so it fits in here perfect, and we can screw our components to it. On the back side, I have these. Now, these come with a Ford Police Interceptor, and I don't use them when I'm building those cars. So I just have a pile of them. By using this, we'll be able to run our wires into this box and it'll be weather tight. I actually used one of these behind the distributor. It's right there. That worked out really well. So I'm sure it'll work really well for this. One thing I want to do though, I don't want to use these screws this comes with. I think that I would like to get like thumb screws. You know, you can take them out by hand. Because my big plan for this and why it's located, where it's located, is easy access. Now that box is conveniently located right behind the license plate in there. So my plan is to actually cut out a square behind the license plate so the license plate can come off and I can get at that. What I could have done was made this license plate recess deeper and put one of them flip down license plate brackets on it. That would have been neat. This is gonna work out well. I'm excited about this. We're gonna have our fuses, relays in here, close to the compressors so we can run a good sized power wire from the battery into here. Relays, fuses, out to here, wire it up so everybody's happy. You know, all those guys in that Ohm's Law drawing? Those guys. Pretty nice view from in there, huh? Yeah, I can't wait for that. I also can't wait for that. Still can't believe I got that truck back after I sold it 20 years ago. It's gonna be so much fun this summer driving that around. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. We got a little bit done. Check you later.
Check you later. Check you later. Chicks don't want to hear that.